yeah. What's today? Saturday. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? Okay, episode 3 was incredible. We know that. But now we have to get prepared for episode 4. Am I right, chat? Okay, so we got a lot to get into today. Jod Na Nawood. Is he a Jedi or not? Jude Law reveals that he might just be. We also have some Mandalorian and Grogu news. We also have some Rey movie news. We got a lot to get into and not a lot of time. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? What's up, chat? All right, so Jude Law has come out and told us a lot of information about the character of Jod Na Nawood. One of two enormous mysteries in the Skeleton Crew show is who is this character? Who is Crimson Jack, Captain Silvo, Jod Na Nawood? Who is this guy? And the other one, of course, being at Atten. What's up with the 8 planets that were hidden away in the Old Republic era or the High Republic era that we don't really know much about at all? We speculated on Thursday, but we don't have any of the answers. Today, we might actually have some answers, at least to the first question, that is, who is Jude Law's character? So, without further ado, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Let's start this off right. Skywalker Academy, what is up? Brandon Baker in the house. JC, how we doing? I Hodja, what is up? King Shadow, how we doing? Ian in the house. Nicholas, how we doing? Trent, what is up? Tafari Tano, how we doing? WUV Grad, what is up? Starship 66 in the house. Universal, how we doing? Thomas, what is up? Navarro, what is up? Fearless in the house. Darth Plagueis lives, how we doing? If I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little,
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so I think we should just start with the article. What Jude Law actually said about this character of Jod Na Nawood. Is he a Jedi or not? But before we read the article, I want to know what you guys think. Before we read any of it, I want to know what you guys think. So let's put up a poll in the chat. If you haven't smashed a freaking like on the stream, do it! Please. Thank you. But that's what that poll just said. So let's start up a new one. Do you think Jod Na Nawood is a Jedi? Yes or no? Do you think he is a Jedi who survived Order 66 and we will be seeing a flashback to Order 66 in the 7th episode? And I say the 7th episode because Jude Law said we will learn all about his backstory or his character's backstory in the 7th episode, which is his favorite episode, and that is the second to last episode. So that will be when we learn what his backstory really is. However, today we got a bunch of awesome stuff to talk about too. Tiffany, what's up? How we doing? Michael in the house, how we doing? All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Do you think he's a Jedi? Tell me in the chat. And while we do that, we're going to read this. So this comes from Entertainment Weekly, this new interview with Jude Law about his character of Jod Na Nawood. Let's dive into this. Let me take a nice long sip of water first. I feel like I'm already losing my voice, and we're only 3 minutes into the stream. And while we're at it, this stream is brought to you by the Mandalorian. No, I'm kidding. But do we think that Din Djarin and Grogu will be showing up in this Skeleton Crew show too? With the mention of bounty hunters in the last episode, it's possible, but we'll get to that later. Just wanted to mention that because I drank out of the cup. All right, let's do this. Jude Law reacts to big Star Wars Skeleton Crew character reveal. So, if you guys didn't notice or if you're living under a rock, the other day, I believe Thursday maybe, Jude Law got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So we just saw Ewan McGregor get it a few months ago, and now Jude Law joins him. Actually, crazy fun fact. Did you know that Jude Law, who plays Jod Na Nawood in Skeleton Crew, and Ewan McGregor, who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi, were roommates? At one point, they lived together as roommates, as struggling actors together. And now their stars are both in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. They're both now Star Wars legends. I mean, if you're in Star Wars, you're a Star Wars legend. And their stars in the Hollywood Walk of Fame are almost right next to each other. Pretty wild. Pretty cool fun fact. All right, let's keep real. All right. Are those shades of Han Solo we see? He is a man who goes by. Oh, what? Oh, I clicked on something by accident. He is a man who goes by many names, but one of those does not appear to be Jedi. That's what we learned in the last episode. One of the names he does not go by is a Jedi, as he revealed to the kids at the end of the episode. I'll zoom in a little bit. That's better. Okay. Even if that's who he pretends to be at the end of last week's 2-episode premiere of Star Wars Skeleton Crew on Disney+, we finally got some more intel on Jude Law's mysterious Skeleton Crew character during episode 3 of this Kid Venture series. Funny. Whether he was simply pretending to be a Jedi, or actually was a Jedi at one time, or merely a Force-sensitive scoundrel remains unclear. But we did learn that the character now, the kids is co-personing. Sure. The kids on their journey back to Atten goes by many different names, with Jod Na Nawood, Captain Silvo, and Crimson Jack being 3 of them. By the way, we will be learning even more as we go on here. That has been confirmed by Jude Law himself. There is more than 3 aliases that we'll know of this character. Not just Captain Silvo, Crimson Jack, and Jod Na Nawood. Okay. It seems Law's Jod was the helmeted pirate captain that we saw in the series' first scene, and was imprisoned by his crew, which we saw happen in the opening sequence of the show. Now, led by the furry furious alien named Brutus, which we need a lot more of. Let's be honest, Brutus is a badass character. We need more of him. But he did just put a bounty out on their heads last episode, meaning we could be seeing some bounty hunters next week, which would be absolutely insane. Give me Bosk, give me IG-88, give me Din Djarin, give me Dengar immediately. Okay, let's keep reading. But now, thanks to the kids he shared with a cell with, he has a ship and a chance to reach a planet full of riches that he assumes to be merely a legend, or was assumed, sorry, to be nearly a legend. But how did he float the key in the air? What is his relationship with the Force? And why does Jod hate droids so much? That was a little detail that not many people picked up on. I actually forgot to even mention it in my breakdown video, but a lot of people in the watch party and a lot of people in the chat on Thursday were talking about it. So shout out to you guys for being freaking geniuses. But in episode 3, a lot of people noticed that he had a hatred towards droids, very similar to Din Djarin. Very similar to Din Djarin. I don't know why I'm losing my voice, chat, but it's pissing me off. Hang on. Better. Okay. He doesn't like droids. He talks about if you put your trust into a droid, they'll just let you down. Something clearly happened to him in the past with droids that didn't end too well. Keep that in the back of your mind. Just keep it there. Okay. We talked to Jude Law to get the lowdown on this alter ego. So let's take a look. Entertainment Weekly. So this was the question asked. So what has it been like for you? I don't want to say lying about your character for the past 2 years, but having to at least hide his true identity, as folks like me have been asking about him and thinking that he might be a Jedi. One of the first things, before we get to his answer, one of the first things we learned about Jude Law's character in the Skeleton Crew show was that he was going to be a Jedi. That's what we learned. Or we learned he was going to be Force sensitive. We didn't really learn he was going to be a Jedi, but we learned he was going to be Force sensitive. That was made very clear. When they first announced the show, when they showed the first teaser trailer at Star Wars Celebration all those years ago, or I guess a year and a half ago, we learned that he was Force sensitive. Because in that teaser trailer shown a year and a half ago, they saw him force that key across the room. So for the last 2 years, we've been speculating about, is he a Jedi? Is he not? And still, 3 episodes into the show, we don't know. But here's the answer that Jude Law gives. Why would they make his name so close to his Star Wars, or to his real name? God. All right, here we go. Jude Law says, well, it kind of comes with the territory. Obviously, being in Star Wars, you got to keep some secrets. I knew I was going to have to be KG anyway. And what I love about him was he's he's full of contradictions. You don't ever quite know what he is or what he's capable of because he's sort of got all these different facets and faces and names. And I mean, if I would have used one word, I would say he's a survivor, right? So he's a survivor in the ways that he was once a pirate. He was once the leader of the pirates. He gets imprisoned by his crew and now he has to survive. He does anything to survive. But I actually think he's referring to him being a survivor for a lot longer than just the time we've seen Jod on the screen. I think we've actually been seeing a lot of, or we're going to be seeing, I should say, a lot of backstory for Jod Na Nawood, where he's going to be a survivor his whole time. Now we talk about survivor being Jedi who survived Order 66, and that could be one of the things he's talking about, but we'll get to that in a bit. Universal says, speculated for 2 years? No, you haven't? What? This show has been done for well over 2 years. I mean, done in the context of filming done. Indeed we have. Rebel Sith, what's up? What is up? All right, let's keep reading now. One word he would use to describe was survivor, right? And quick-witted and nimble. But is he a threat? You'll have to wait and see. He uses the word threat. Now, threat obviously makes us think villain or bad guy or whatever you want to call it. But a threat is not a good thing by any definition of the word. Threat is not a good thing. So is he a threat? We'll have to wait and see. He mentions the line from the last episode where he's talking about Kim and how she's going to stab them in the back, and the kids take it seriously because they don't understand the phrase stabbing somebody in the back. And he says, you'll learn when you're older. Really foreshadowing the fact that he's going to stab these kids in the back. At least that's what I believe. But we'll have to wait and see. The next question asked was, now that we've learned that your character's true identity as Jod Na Nawood or Captain Silvo or Crimson Jack or whatever we want to call him, what can you say in terms of a background as a Force user? Okay, so this is what we really want to get into. That doesn't come out until right near the end, when you really get an insight into his backstory and why he may be a Force user and is Force sensitive. So he does confirm, well, actually he doesn't confirm, he says maybe a Force user. He's not even confirmed that he is a Force user, even though we saw him wield the Force multiple times in episode 3. And even still, he can't confirm to us that he was a Force user. That's pretty wild when you think about it. Because there's still some people out there, and tell me if it's you in the chat, but there's still some people out there that don't even think he's Force sensitive. After watching him force the key across the room, after watching him do the Obi-Wan Kenobi trick of making something loud noise down the hall, of turning off the lights when he's talking to KB, some people still don't even think that he's a Force sensitive, he's a Force user. It's absolutely wild. But let's keep reading. So he says he may be a Force user, but he does say that we don't find out until right near the very end, until episode 7. So we'll find out all about this Jod Na Nawood character. Okay. And it was a detail that was always there, but creators John Watson, Christopher Ford, and I really went back to make sure that we were all on the same page as to where he was born and what happened. So, a very important piece of the entire story of Jod's character was where he was born and what happened to him in his young childhood days, which is huge because if he was a Jedi, he was taken by the Jedi Order very early on. It gets crazier, okay? Hang on. It gets crazier. And it's kind of interesting, but a very revealing page in his past, I would say, is that he's not someone who had a childhood. Not someone who had a childhood. Let's talk about that. Who else doesn't have a childhood in the galaxy? The Jedi. The Jedi take kids at a very young age. Okay? They come in, steal a kid, have fun, train them to become a Force user. It's a fun deal. But you don't have a childhood. You just instantaneously become somebody who has to protect the entire galaxy for the rest of your life. So you don't have a childhood as a Jedi. Now, there is another, as the great Yoda once said. There is another. There's another person or group of people that don't have childhoods in the galaxy either. Now, who might that be? Chat? 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 Anakin? Well, Anakin didn't have a childhood. No. I mean, Anakin did have a childhood till he was like 11, but he was too old, as the great Yoda once said again. Clones. True, clones didn't have a childhood, but interesting. I was not thinking of that. No, clones don't have a childhood. That's true. He's not a clone of Tamara Morrison or Jango Fett, I'll give you that, but he could be a clone of somebody else. That's interesting. That is interesting. For those Palpatine fans out there, that could be pretty interesting. Yeah. I'm thinking more of like a Sith. Okay? Now the line between Jedi and Sith is a big one. There's a middle ground, as Marcus is saying in the chat, the gray Jedi, or something along the lines of a gray Jedi. But the Sith are also taken at a very young age. Palpatine, not so much. But when you look at other characters, like in Asajj Ventress, she's not really a Sith, she's more of a Sith assassin. But she's taken at a young age to train in the ways of the dark side of the Force. Not really having a childhood of any sort. So it's possible that Jod Na Nawood is one of two things. One, a Jedi, and one, a Sith. Now that may sound like dumb, like he's a Force user, he has to be one or the other. Not necessarily, but not having a childhood is pretty important, to say the least. But he goes on, as he says. He's someone who kind of had his childhood snatched away from him. Now, this does make you seem like more of a resentment towards whoever took him away. That could still mean the Jedi, because some people are not so pleased that their lives were taken away by the Jedi Order, or their kids were taken away by the Jedi Order. But it could be that it was more sort of a dark side of the Force that took him away, and that would be a snatched childhood from him. But let's keep going. And it's why he looks at the kids with sort of a disdain, because he didn't get the childhood that they get. They're just small adults. Why don't they understand they've got to get on to survive? So he's more like, why aren't you guys doing this? You had an actual childhood. What is that? And he has no idea. He's completely lost with this whole relationship. Why don't they understand why don't they understand they've got to get, I just read that. What am I, stupid? And why are they so inexperienced? Because at their age, you had a lot more experience. He has no real concept of innocence because, again, his childhood was taken from him, which is such an important detail for this character. Now, the question I ask you, chat, is do you think that his childhood was taken away from him because of the Jedi? What do we think? Asajj was a Jedi? She becomes a Jedi after the fact. Yeah. When she joins Quinlan Voss. Anakin didn't have a childhood? No, I said he did until he was taken by the Jedi Order. And they said he was too old. Who else wields the Force? Maz Kanata? I don't think Maz Kanata wields the Force, but she does have sort of an insight because she's been around for so long. You know, she's seen a lot of people, seen a lot of things. True. True. No childhood. Could have been a slave after his family was killed. Also possible, but that wouldn't really connect him to the Force at all. He can wield the Force pretty well, from what we've seen, at least, pretty easily. And to be able to do that, you have to have some sort of training. Like we learned over the last couple of years, especially with the Ahsoka series last year, that you need a lot of training to be able to actually wield the Force. Even if you are Force sensitive, even if your midichlorian count is very high, like an Anakin Skywalker, even at the age of 9, 10, he's not wielding the Force like picking up objects, floating them around, doing that stuff. Yes, he's not unknowingly using the Force to win pod races, which humans are not able to do because their reaction speed is not that fast. But because he's so powerful with the Force, he's able to win pod races. But he's not knowingly like lifting objects, wielding the Force like that. You need training. That's been made very clear. Yeah. So was he taken at a young age by the Jedi or by a dark side user? Do you think we will be getting an Order 66 flashback in this 7th episode of Skeleton Crew? If you asked me this 24 hours ago, 24 hours ago, I would have said no. I would have said no. I don't think he's a Jedi at all. I think we're going to learn some crazy backstory. Maybe he learned from a Jedi who survived Order 66, or he learned from a dark side user, or he learned from, I don't know, anybody, Asajj Ventress, Darth Maul. He could have learned from anybody. I guess not anybody, but a lot of options he could have learned from over the years. But now, having heard this answer about his childhood being taken away from him, I actually do think he was a part of the Jedi Order. I think he did survive Order 66. He had some sort of falling out with the Jedi Order, and now he became a pirate. And for the last 28-ish years, he was a pirate since Order 66, and he's been beaten up, battered around, and he's not really had the life that many other, I guess, kids on Atten would have had. And that's why he doesn't understand what these kids are all about. But tell me what you think in the chat. Is this childhood being taken away from him that Jude Law is talking about? Is that the Jedi taking him away from his family at a very young age? Or is it like JC, I think, mentioned in the chat, did his family die at a young age and did he become a slave? Or did his family die at a young age and he had to learn to be off on his own as a pirate maybe at a very, very young age? And if that's the case, then who would have killed his family? Jude Law, correct me if I'm wrong, is 50, 49, something like that? Tell me in the chat how old Jude Law is. But he's playing a character that's probably around the same age, right? So if Jod Na Nawood is around that 50-year-old mark, he would have been still in his early 20s at the time of Order 66. So even if he was a Jedi during Order 66, he'd be 21, 22, 23 years old. That's definitely old enough to sort of have training in the ways of the Force, but also a lot of experience. He would have been alive during the Clone Wars. He would have been a very Ahsoka-esque character. Now, Ahsoka was a little younger than that when Order 66 happened, but even still, her childhood was taken from her. She became a warrior at the age of 13, 14 to join a war, the Clone Wars. So she might actually have a very similar story to Jod Na Nawood, at least at a very young age. But instead of Ahsoka, like Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order, goes and does her own thing, actually has this crazy, joins the rebellion, has this crazy arc, dies to Vader, comes back to life, dies again to Balin, comes back to life. Like, Jod's not going to have that. He's going to join the pirates and become a pirate. Hide the fact that he can wield the Force. Probably because Brutus doesn't seem to think that he can wield the Force. They were like, oh my God, he escaped. And they were surprised by it. If they knew he could wield the Force, they wouldn't be that surprised by it. But I think, it's just a theory for now, but I think Jod and Ahsoka Tano are going to have very similar upbringings in the Jedi Order, where they were brought into this war at a very young age, and all they know is to be a warrior. But what happens after Order 66 for both those characters is very, very different. Because Jod goes off and becomes a pirate, does his own thing, sees how rough and rigged the galaxy really is. And Ahsoka, well, she joins the rebellion, and we know what happens with her. But tell me what you think in the chat, because a lot of other things could happen. A lot of other things could happen. His birthday is December 29th? Really? He's 51 now, so he's almost 52. Interesting. Interesting. Anakin didn't have a childhood. Why are you spamming that? I literally said he did until he was 9, and then Yoda told him he was too old. What are we doing here? What if Jod was trained by someone else and sees the person that trained him and ends up killing him? Maybe it's Neel Nawood, a.k.a. his sister. And he was trained by Anakin/Vader. That seems like a stretch, the whole Anakin Vader thing at the end. But we still do have this mysterious Neel Nawood character that only existed on Google Cast, only existed on IMDb, and has since been taken off of both. Yeah. Jod would be about 26 during Order 66? Not 20? I said earlier. I mean, it's close. Close enough. And isn't it 28 years after Order 66? So that math is definitely not mathing. He'd be like 21, 22, 23, actually. An ex-Inquisitor. Okay, so somebody's brought this up before, and I see how Joe's bringing it up right now. An ex-Inquisitor is a pretty interesting one. He would kind of fit the mold to be an Inquisitor, especially if he was a Jedi during Order 66. Kind of a guy who does whatever it takes to survive. That's what we've been led to believe with this character of Jod. He takes on all these different aliases. He's surviving by any means. He's a survivor. That's the big word. The one word that Jod uses to describe this character is survivor. And a survivor of Order 66 who would do anything to survive would probably join the Inquisitorius, or the Inquisitors, and train with Vader, which would be absolutely insane, and become an Inquisitor. Now, we've seen Inquisitors leave that order before, most recently in Tales of the Empire with Barriss Offee that came out this year. Is that a foreshadowing to Jod Na Nawood? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. But ex-Inquisitor, what do we think, chat? Is that a possibility? By the way, this poll right now, with over 70-ish votes, 70 votes, 71% of you say no. So if 71% of you say no, he's not a Jedi, then what is he? If he was not a Jedi who survived Order 66, then what was he? What is he talking about here when he says his childhood? Where was it? He had no childhood, and his childhood was snatched away from him. And then the one word that he uses to describe the character is a survivor, like a survivor of Order 66. If he wasn't a Jedi, then what is he? A son of a Jedi? His mom probably died defending him. Interesting. But then that brings up the case that Jedi weren't allowed to have kids and love attachments. Now, you might counter that by saying, Mike, we saw a bunch of Jedi, 1, have kids, and 2, have love affairs. Obi-Wan with Satine, but that was kind of like he didn't actually do anything. He was in love with her, but didn't do anything about it. Of course, Padme and Anakin, but that was the chosen one doing his own thing. You had Ki-Adi-Mundi, who was given the permission by the Jedi Order to have kids because his species was dying off. You have Yoda and Yaddle, who we assume had Grogu, but it's not been confirmed yet in Star Wars. So there are some people who had kids, but I don't know. Could be a son of a Jedi. But again, he would be about 23-ish years old by the time of Order 66. So he wouldn't really have his childhood snatched away from him if his mom or parents were around until he was in his mid-20s. You know? Aaron says, I enjoy seeing the journeys of these renegade surviving Force users. Me too. I mean, it's so cool to see. And the fact is that they can bring in these cool new badass characters and write them so well. It's just everything. Getting Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati last year, 2 brand new characters in the Star Wars timeline, and then coming back in the very next year and giving us Jod Na Nawood, this very mysterious Force-using character, and fans absolutely loving all of them. It's just, the writing over there is so good. Star Wars Politics. What's up, Star Wars Politics? How we doing? What's up, Mike? Not sure if you saw my comment. I don't think I did, but he said, what if he is Satine's son, making him Obi-Wan Kenobi's son, possibly. What? Okay, let's talk about it. Satine did have a son, and let me pull it up for you. Satine. Actually, no, she had a nephew, right? Wait, who am I thinking of? All right, let's see. Satine Kryze's son. Was it her nephew or her son? It was his son. It was her nephew. It was her nephew, right? It's her nephew. Her nephew, right? He had a nephew. Yes, it's a nephew, not a son. Nephew. Okay. Nephew. But if you take a look at the nephew, how old is he? How old are you? Why is it not giving me like a birthday or anything? Why don't I get a birthday? People always said that he looked like a combination of Satine and Obi-Wan. When were you born, kid? That is so weird. Why does it not tell me? What? I got no age. Nephew. Age. Okay. Well, I can't find it. Oh, it says he died at the age of 20. Did he die in the Clone Wars? I don't remember that. But that is a crazy theory if I've ever heard one, and I like it quite a bit, actually. Imagine Obi-Wan and Satine had a mysterious secret baby, and it was Jod Na Nawood. That would be insane. I like it quite a bit. It's a wild theory, but a wild theory that I like nonetheless. Indeed. There was a clone and a Jedi Master. They had a baby and escaped Order 66 before in the comics. Is that a canon comic or a Legends comic, though? Maybe his parents got snatched up by the Empire to work on one of the various projects, leaving him to fend for himself. Well, that would, again, be too late. If he's 51 years old by the time of Skeleton Crew, then he would still be in his early 20s during Order 66, which is when the Empire comes to power, and he would be too old. Like, his childhood's over by then. His childhood was taken during the time of the Jedi, during the time of the Republic, by somebody. Probably the Jedi. I feel like the Jedi are the only option at this point. Maybe the Separatists came in to a planet and killed his family, and that's who stole his family from him, the droids, and that's why he doesn't trust droids. Hang on, we're getting somewhere here. So another option could be that his family and his world, whatever his home world may be, was destroyed by droids, but destroyed by the Separatists, which was the droid army during the time of the Republic. And maybe that's why he doesn't like droids. But the line is that don't trust droids to do something because they'll always let you down. That's not really like droids killed my family. That's more like I trusted a droid once and it betrayed me or it let me down. You know? It's not a bad theory. I like it. It's not a bad theory. Plenty of bad folks in the galaxy, that's for sure. What if Jod is Snoke? No. That's a crazy theory for sure, but no. Snoke's a giant. Snoke's a literal giant, and he's all effed up, you know? He's confirmed to be a Force-sensitive clone version of Palpatine. A clone of Starkiller? No. Again, Starkiller, not canon for many different reasons. He's just too overpowered, and he's Vader's apprentice, which we've never seen Vader have an apprentice, and it would be very well kept hidden, especially after all the content in canon that we've seen of Vader between prequels and the originals. Yeah. I like these crazy theories. I do. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are a little bit too crazy. Imagine Jod Na Nawood turns out to be Rey's father. Again, no. For a couple of reasons. We know who Rey's father is. It's Dathan, Palpatine's successful, unsuccessful clone. He was not Force sensitive. And we've already seen him in canon. So I hate to put all these theories down, but some of them, yeah. Okay. I read an article that says this show, will lead to the creation of Starkiller Base. That's a possibility. I think that was more of a theory. At Atten, a lot of fans think could eventually become Starkiller Base, but that again is not possible. We know Starkiller Base is Ilum that gets transformed into Starkiller Base. Ilum was that icy planet from Jedi Fallen Order, I think, or Survivor. Jedi Fallen Order. And the Clone Wars, where all those kids go to get their kyber crystals. That's Ilum, and that eventually becomes Starkiller Base. Yeah. Casey says this is Starkiller, or at least a version of him. Now, a version of him is a better option here. Is it Starkiller? No. But could it be a version of Starkiller? Maybe. Do I think it is? Probably not, but maybe. Darth Thor says, I think we need to think before the prequel trilogy for Jod's childhood. Not before, because the prequel trilogy, maybe slightly before is when he's born, because the prequel trilogy spans, there's like a 10-year gap between 1 and 2, and a 1-year gap between 2 and 3, 3-year gap. Yeah, so I think he'd be a little bit older than the prequel trilogy. Just a tad bit. Just a tad. Yeah. So you're talking he would be as old as Anakin. Actually, he'd be like the same age as Anakin. Right? Because Grogu's 50, and Grogu's the exact same age as Anakin. So Jod would be pretty much the exact same age as Grogu and Anakin. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't think I am. Coincidence? Jod Na Nawood's the chosen one. Write that down. Yeah. Son of a Jedi. And Vader probably killed his parents. Again, son of a Jedi doesn't make sense because the Jedi couldn't have kids. They couldn't have connections like that. They couldn't have loving connections. He could be a foundling. Could be. He doesn't really resemble a Mandalorian in any sort of way. And he has the Force, which wouldn't explain being a Mandalorian. You know? I mean, his Jedi mom / parents have him born around the time of Order 66 or right after, but that wouldn't make him 51. Like, Order 66 was not 51 years before the Skeleton Crew show. It was only like 28 at most. That's impossible. He's going to be the version of an Heir to the Empire Jedi character or Starkiller. So like a Joruus C'baoth type. I would not be opposed to that. So Joruus C'baoth is a Force-sensitive clone of Joruus C'baoth. Joruus C'baoth was a Jedi. He gets a Force-sensitive clone of himself, or there's a Force-sensitive clone of him made at Mount Tantus. And Thrawn, during the Heir to the Empire trilogy, goes to Mount Tantus, where he meets and recruits, I guess, Joruus C'baoth to his cause, and he's the Force sensitive that he has on his side to fight against Luke Skywalker. Well, he also makes a clone version of Luke Skywalker called Luke Skywalker. But could Jod Na Nawood be the canon version of a Joruus C'baoth? That's an interesting one. That would make him go down a very dark path, which would not be very good. I think by the end of this Skeleton Crew show, Jod is going to have like some sort of redemption arc. He's going to help the kids after probably stabbing them in the back within these next couple episodes. Episode 4 is what's coming next. So we're going to predict episode 4 specifically in a little bit. But episode 4 and 5, I think, will be sort of finding the treasure, finding Atten, finding their home. And that's probably when Jod is going to turn on these kids. As soon as they find the treasure, as soon as they deliver what Jod wanted, that's when he'll probably stab them in the backs, leave them out to dry, leave them out to die, most likely. And that's when the kids will probably get in really hot water, get in real big trouble. And then somewhere along episode 7, episode 8 is when Jod comes back, saves the day. He's the big hero. He's the big Han Solo type. And that's where we go from there. I think. That's just a theory. Yeah. Jod would not be at the temple during Order 66. He would be over 20, so he'd be out in the field. Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, even Jedi over 20 were still at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. It's a possibility that he was out in the field somewhere, and that's probably how he survived. I mean, look at the characters who did survive. Not many of them were at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. Not many. I mean, some were, but not many. You look at Kanan Jarrus. Kanan Jarrus was out in the field with the Bad Batch and with his master. It's a big galaxy. And if he's not on Coruscant during Order 66, he's got a way better likelihood of surviving. Yeah. It would be cool if we got to hear him or hear more about the path in Quinlan Voss and how he was able to help a bunch of Jedi escape through the Skeleton Crew show. Now, that would be pretty cool. If Jod Na Nawood had any sort of connection to the hidden path with Quinlan Voss, with the Sage Ventress, helping them out, helping them save Jedi, but that would be sort of contradictory to what his character is. Maybe he got saved by Quinlan, but I don't think he'd be helping out because he's more of a scoundrel type, you know? Yeah. Episode 4 is supposed to be about Neel a lot. That's true. Yes, episode 4 is supposed to focus a lot more on Neel. And it's not like it's going to be only about Neel, but it's going to be a Neel-centered episode. Yeah. Can we talk about how freaking genius Neel is for a second? Not only the concept of the character being a big, blue, cute elephant, but also how genius the character himself is. He's the one asking the hard-hitting questions. He's the one who's like, could there actually be a treasure on our home? And they're like, what do our parents actually do? And these other kids are like, they're analysts. Duh. And he's like, analyzing what? And they're like, you know? Yeah. Yeah. So episode 4 is going to be a lot about Neel, for sure. Yeah. He could have been a miner, a slave, a shipmate on a shipmate on a ship. Yeah, could be. But where did he learn the Force in those scenarios? Like, he has to be in a spot in his childhood where he trains to learn the Force. That's the thing. Yes, his family could die and he could become a slave or whatever, and that would still work for having a bad childhood, but that doesn't line up with the Force side of it. How did he learn to wield the Force? You know? Nathan says, the fandom would be divided on this show. Oh, sorry. What? The fandom would be divided on that. Sorry, this show has so much goodwill. Divided on what? I'm not too sure what you're talking about there. I will say, now the viewership numbers are starting to come out, and they're not that high. Skeleton Crew is not even in the top 10 for the like new shows or whatever it is. Which is not good. Viewership numbers are pretty low for this show. And that was, we knew that was coming. We were predicting that was going to come. But I actually think from week to week, word of mouth, all that stuff, by the end of this show, by episode 8, it will be in that top 10, and it will be a very beloved show. So far, so good. I mean, it's sitting at like, what, a 95, 96 on Rotten Tomatoes? That's incredible. The audience score is not that high, but it's high. It's in the 80s. That's pretty dang good. So fans, the Star Wars fandom seems pretty united around this show. Obviously, with your haters gonna hate type people, but it doesn't matter because nobody's listening to them. The show's good. And that's what speaks. It speaks volumes. And now the word of mouth is getting around. People are like, oh, wait, what's this Skeleton Crew show? Jude Law, Star Wars, Force users? What's going on? And people are starting to watch it. And I've yet to really find anybody who's actually not liked the show. But hey, if you do, tell me in the chat. Starship66 says, I'm leaning more towards Jod being a slave. He got his freedom. Force sensitive, yes. Jedi, no. But where did he learn the Force? That's the thing. I can see that happening. His family dying. He has to struggle to survive type deal. But when does he learn the Force? Somebody along the way has to teach him the ways of the Jedi. You know? It's a lot. It's a lot, for sure. Yeah. Obi-Wan and Satine, son, fits because it would be after Order 66, and he would be legitimate, so denied a family life. Oh, illegitimate, sorry. So he'd be denied a family life. Yeah, but does the timeline line up? Obi-Wan would still be very young at that point. You know? Yeah. I don't know. I don't think the timeline really lines up there. Vader's going to kill Nina Jod's sister during Order 66, and that seeds for a life of crime, and as a result. Again, I don't really know if this Jod Na Nawood character exists. She only existed on the Google cast and IMDb cast, and now it's gone. Are they covering it up? Maybe. Are they covering up the mistake that they made? Possibly. Or did she ever exist in the first place? I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. Jod is from Tatooine, and he used to knock about with Anakin and Greedo. No, I don't think so. What if his Jedi mother gave him up as a baby? But then how would he have learned to wield the Force if his mom gave him up as a baby? You know? How would he have learned to wield the Force if his Jedi mom gave him up as a baby? Doesn't make any sense. Oh, Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $5 Is he a Jedi or no? You gave me $5 to just say, is he a Jedi or no? What are you, crazy? God, I appreciate it quite a bit, but damn. Is he a Jedi or no? I can't even answer the question either. I think he might be. I think an Order 66 flashback is coming. But not a lot of people agree with me today. Not a lot. I'm not on the bandwagon today, chat. As over almost 70% of you say no, he's not a Jedi who survived Order 66. I don't know, but I appreciate it, Darth Plagueis. I really, really do. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here, so I appreciate it. Yeah. 50 Thunderer says, there will be a flashback scene where Jod is described avoiding being killed by Anakin. I don't think a lot of people are going to like that. And seeing all the younglings' friends that he had be killed, and he runs off and hides, the beginning of a life of crime and survival. First of all, nobody's going to like that he eludes Anakin, because Anakin's supposed to be the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, the chosen one himself. But also, he wouldn't be that young. You're referring to him as a youngling who's surviving. All of his youngling friends being killed off. But he wouldn't be a youngling at that point. He'd be 23-ish years old, you know? He'd be way older than that. Yeah. 69% of you say no, he won't be a Jedi. Then what is he? How did he learn to wield the Force if he wasn't a Jedi? Darth Thor makes a good point. All right, let's see what Darth Thor says. Darth Thor says, what if KB's medical condition was a Force tendency and her headgear was dampening the Force? Hold on. What? All right, let's talk about this for a second. So not many people saw this, and shout out to you guys again for being amazing. But I think it was Rose who mentioned it in the last stream. But in this episode, at the very beginning, when all the parents are freaking out about their kids being lost and all that stuff, we hear very briefly, if I can get to it, we see, let me put the closed captioning on here too. It's like a look away for a second and you miss it type deal. But when all the parents are there, KB's moms talk about how they've lost the signal to KB's life monitor. But then they say that she has a medical problem or condition or something. Hang on, let's see. So the droid walks in. Greetings. I have been sent by the supervisor, which, by the way, we could talk about the supervisor all day long. Who do you think is the supervisor? Tell me in the chat. Okay, let's do this. So the supervisor, the droid tells them that they escaped on an illegal ship past the barrier. The parents start freaking out. Damn the kid. Damn the risk. Our daughter has an urgent medical need. All right. So this is the closed captioning I'll show you right here. That's it right there. So these are KB's moms right there, and then Neel's mom and Wim's dad. Our daughter has an urgent medical needs. Has very urgent medical needs. And we don't know what that could be, but it doesn't seem that urgent. They've now been out in the galaxy for 2 episodes, and KB doesn't seem to be showing any signs of dying or anything like that. And maybe she doesn't know about it, or maybe she does. I don't know. Who knows? But KB has this very urgent medical need. What could that be? Now, the theory brought up in the chat by Darth Thor is that her medical need is the Force, and the thing on her head is dampening it. Possibly that every Force-sensitive kid brought up on Atten is dampened, or their abilities are dampened so that they don't have the Force, so that they don't work against the supervisor and the people who are running the city, running the planet even. I like that theory quite a bit. But this medical emergency or urgent medical needs must come into play at some point. They wouldn't throw this line in there for no reason at all. Clearly, KB's got something going on. And even Fern joked about her having the Force in the last episode. I don't know. Nathan says, can we talk about Wim's dad when he reacted to not getting a meeting with the supervisor? He essentially put his glasses down, suspicious of him after all. I'm not really suspicious of Wim's dad. I think he's the one who saw the kids blast off into hyperspace, so he was the only one who knows what really happened, you know? The supervisor is Jackson? Jackson? Who? What? So tell me what you think in the chat of what KB's needs are, or medical attention needs are. Jackson? This rabbit? Is this who you're talking about? This smuggler bunny rabbit? I don't think so. No. Neel is the supervisor? Yeah, no, I don't think so either. The supervisor is like a mainframe for the planet. What if the supervisor doesn't actually exist? It's sort of like somebody mentioned it in the last stream, the Wizard of Oz, and he's just Oz behind the curtain, and it might just be a droid or nothing or whatever. This planet has been, and I go back to what Kim said in the last episode, this planet is been missing for a long time. So long that the other 8 planets, because there was 9 of them, the other 8 planets were all destroyed long ago. That's what she says. Long ago, the other planets were destroyed. Not found, not revealed, not taken out of this weird hidden utopia, weird society. No, destroyed. What? Now, I want to talk about episode 4 specifically. Okay? Let's talk about this. Hang on. Shout out to Navarro again in the Discord. If you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. But let's take a look at this. So, next episode, episode 4, is being directed by the Daniels. So these are the guys who directed Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, that was called something like that. Everything Everywhere, Everywhere, Everything Everywhere, you know? So we have this teaser, or at least featurette, on YouTube, or on StarWars.com's YouTube. And it gives us some insight into what's coming up a little bit. It talks about creatures and stuff like that. So let's watch this first, and then we'll get into what's coming in episode 4 with a focus on Neel, but also a big war coming. And our heroes actually going to At-Aten, because at the end of the episode, they were supposed to be going to At-Aten, but that's not the case. We're not going to At-Aten just yet. So let's watch this.
My favorite things about
Oops. This is one of the Daniels.
My favorite things about Star Wars are practical effects and puppets.
Hey, who did that?
You kind of watched those and you were like, that looks achievable at the same time that it looks otherworldly.
All the creature effects and animatronics that we get to play with.
They're so weird looking.
The authenticity of real objects and real things on camera has been really fun.
The crab monster, I said we should do it in stop motion, thinking that everyone would be like, no, that's insane. And John,
I said that.
that's insane. Phil Tippett and his team built this puppet, and
Yeah.
Hang on, look at that. So first of all, Phil Tippett, if you don't know, is coming back. He's an original guy who worked on the original trilogy with the stop motion of all of that, and the puppets in the original trilogy. But he's coming back for Skeleton Crew, right there. But this crab monster that we've seen in all the trailers.
Tippett and his team.
Look at that. Stop motion. Every frame is you move one thing. Anybody watch iCarly when Spencer's doing the stop motion thing? If you know, you know. But look, there's an astromech right there on his side. There's something that looks like almost a ship. He's crashed into his, or like he's turned his shell into a ship or something. I don't know.
Built this puppet, and each shot takes 2 weeks.
Each shot takes 2 weeks. That's crazy.
It just brings out joy in general, coming to work, working with different aliens and creatures, working with droids. It's just so much fun.
Why did you bring us to a pirate port full of pirates?
Because we are also pirates.
SM-33, you immediately forget that there's a puppet performer behind it, and you just start giving directions to the puppet.
Where are you taking us?
To see the captain. Just seeing how he comes alive. I'm in awe of the team and how they make him so realistic.
I'm Neel. Neel.
Neel?
Neel is an incredible character, and we all love Neel.
He's the loose cannon in the best sense of the word.
Incredible loose cannon.
We're getting good at falling.
Part of the joy of having a character that is a creature is that it is truly a team effort. There's legacy effects, the team at ILM. You need someone inside of the suit of the creature.
Hey, House Life, how are you doing?
And then you need a team of puppeteers.
All these people standing on the edge of frame with remote controls doing the trunk and the eyes and the expressions, they just have it down.
They were very adamant that they didn't just want a puppet, they wanted the interaction between the characters. We felt very confident in the animatronic that Legacy was able to deliver.
I need you to take the controls.
Okay. Neel? Neel?
I have loved the opportunity of working with the puppeteers, the droid creatures, and it's been a blast.
Bringing Neel to life with all those, like his ears move, his nose, his trunk moves. It's pretty cool. It's pretty wild. But there's a few frames in here that are coming in episode 4. So let's take
We're
a
getting good at falling.
Part of the joy of having a
Ooh, interesting. Hang on.
We're getting good at
This is not what I was looking for here, but I just stumbled upon something crazy. So this is the snowy, mountainy planet that we've seen so many times in the trailer, right? The planet where they're looking for the buffet. That planet with like the very nice place that looks very made of glass almost, and they walk in like they belong. This snowy, mountainy planet is also where the ancient Sith writing is on the wall. And we are led to believe that the treasure of At-Aten is on At-Aten, But I don't think this snowy mountainy planet is at Atten. Keep that in mind. Because we've seen the kids in the treasure room hit the lever that makes them fall down this tube, which we see right here. They fall down this tube.
We're getting good at falling.
And they fall into the snowy planet. Now, this could be trailer magic, cutting it together to make it look like they're falling into the snowy planet. But this proves, to an extent, that the treasure is on the snowy planet. Not at Atten. Interesting. Now, again, it could be trailer magic. It could be edited together weird, but this does seem to me that this proves that the treasure is not on at Atten. Unless this snowy planet does turn out to be at Atten. But from what we've seen from at Atten, it doesn't have snow. It doesn't have really big mountains like that. I don't know. Well, that's not what I was looking for, but found it anyway. All right, let's keep going here. So this planet, this crumbly old
ILM.
dusty planet, that's sort of where this war is going to happen. This young girl actor is being brought in, characters brought in. These are the Daniels right here. They're directing Neel.
You need someone inside of the suit of the creature.
Hey, house life, how are you doing?
And then you need a team.
And this room right here looks to be some sort of bunker with a bunch of sandbags there and stuff like that. They're going to be in a war next episode. Now, the reason I know it's next episode is because the next episode is being directed by the Daniels. And shout out to Navarro in the Discord because we got to see this. All right. So we're going to this planet next episode, episode 4, where we're going to see this new character. So this girl right here on the right, she's going to be in the next episode because this is where we're going. We're not going to Atten next episode. We're going here. This is the Neel-centric episode with the Daniels as they are directing Neel right there on this very dusty war-torn planet with this girl right here. I don't know about you guys, but it seemed to me at the end of episode 3, they got the coordinates to Atten from Kim. So what happened? Was Kim wrong? Now, let's go back and talk about this scene. So when they go to see Kim in the last episode, they decipher by the help of the kids, talking about the barrier, the nebula around the planet, and the symbol that Fern has on her bag. They decipher where this planet may be. And when Kim finds it, she says, "Oh, yes, I found it." Or, "Oh, yes, this is it." And then Jod is like, "Well, did you find it?" And she says, "No, I have to look all night long," because she's trying to stall for the New Republic to get there. But she did find it. So she found the planet, and they stole the coordinates to the planet, but they don't go to Atten. They blasted off into hyperspace at the end of the episode, and we thought they were going to Atten. But they're not. What do you think's going on there, chat? Never trust a talking owl? Okay, that could be one thing. Could be one thing. John Groom says, remember, both the Arctic and the Sahara both exist on Earth. That is true. And Atten does seem to be the most Earth-like planet in the galaxy, so maybe it does have different biomes like Earth does, but no other Star Wars planet tends to do. Star Wars, again, like I mentioned last stream, is a fantasy. It's not science. So, yes, in the real world, planets have different biomes. I mean, Earth has different biomes. But planets in Star Wars usually only have one. Tatooine, fully desert. Hoth, fully frozen over. Kamino, fully flooded. Endor, fully forest. It's usually just one biome. But could Atten be the first to break that mold? Could it have multiple biomes? Having one snowy mountainy area and one I guess, jungle-ish, foresty, civilian, whatever area. Busted ship probably didn't get them there. Interesting. They get blasted out of hyperspace. That could be a very likely possibility because as soon as they get back on the ship after they make the deal with Jod Na, when they get back on the ship, SM-33 says something very important. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. All right, so they make the deal with Jod, and they jump on the ship, and SM-33 says, the launch support systems are half disabled. So launch support systems mean like takeoff, right? Or I guess launch, maybe launch into hyperspace. I don't know. They're half disabled right here in the closed captioning. This is when they're running onto the ship. And Jod's response is, reassemble them, we're taking off. So SM-33 is trying to reassemble them while they take off. Interesting. So maybe the ship is still broken, can't make it to At-Aten. Maybe falls apart in hyperspace. They get taken out of hyperspace. That's a possibility. Another possibility is that we go to a different hidden planet. We talked about how there was 9 hidden planets. 8 of them were found, or at least 8 of them were destroyed long ago. What if we were just going to one of those destroyed planets? Kim found the wrong one, and they just are happening upon a destroyed planet. How do I know that that's not At-Aten? I don't. I will say I don't know that that's not At-Aten. This planet right here with this girl could be At-Aten. Could be. But why would they land over here and not back home? Go find their parents. Can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bum-ba. They are ripe for being trapped by bounty hunters. Yeah, I don't think they're going back to At-Aten just yet. No. I think there's a long way to go before we get home for these kids. Some more issues are going to come up, that's for sure. But hey, this could be At-Aten. Maybe. Let's talk about the war, though. Because these kids are at war. When you look at some of the other trailers, if I can pull it up really quickly, when you look at the other trailers for this show, do this one. The best trailer, of course, with the most hype.
What are you in for?
Okay, we're skipping ahead. Here we go.
A crew of murderous pirates is coming.
This. These kids are at war, or at least fighting somebody, and it doesn't look like Jod is even there. But these kids are fighting somebody. Who do you think they're fighting? Are they fighting back against the safety droids? Are they fighting back against somebody else? Pirates? Bounty hunters? Or is it just so crazy to think it could be the remnant of the Empire? The Grand Admiral Thrawn, the heir to the Empire himself, tying it all together. They're fighting pirates. Could be pirates. Could be pirates. Let's not forget. Stormtroopers. Could be stormtroopers. Let's not forget about the bounty hunters. In the last episode, Brutus says, put a bounty on those kids' heads. And Jod's head, of course. I want them found. Bounty hunters can mean a lot of things, especially in the Star Wars universe. Bounty hunters can mean quite a few things. Quite a few people. That's for damn sure. But I don't think bounty hunters would warrant this. We are very led to believe that this could be the next episode. Interesting. I don't know, chat. What do we think? Mike, we need to look at the ship's navigation again. There were 8 planets. I think we were going to each of them. That's a good one. So you think that they're going to be going to all 8 or 9 of these planets? Interesting. Those are the kids that failed their school tests and were sent to the mines. Actually, I mean, Fern did joke about that in episode 1, but could be. The big blue meanie has arrived. The one with the helmet might be the person that we spotted with Neel. Yeah, I think this... Actually, that might be Fern. Or it might be the girl. I'm not too sure. Maybe Fern's off to the other side here. Either way, they're fighting back against something. Fighting somebody. It's their Andor moment, rebellion time. Rebelling against the droids. Well, look at the place behind them. It's completely destroyed. Like, this building is destroyed. Whatever the statue was is destroyed. Doesn't look very bright and happy. It looks very doom and gloomy. You know? What's the logo on the helmet? I don't know. It is a very strange... Actually, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7. I was going to say, is it 9? Because 9 would be the 9 hidden planets, but there's only 7. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know what this logo is, but it's there. And if we go back to this, it's also right there. So, I don't know. I don't know what that symbol means. Unidentified Old Republic symbols. Could be more of those. Could be. Could be. It might not even be on Ad-Adden. Yeah, I don't really think that this is Ad-Adden. It could be, technically, like maybe the other side of the planet, but I don't think it is. I don't think we're going back to Ad-Adden next week. Let's put it that way. Episode 4 is not taking us back home. We got a lot of adventure before we get there. Yeah. The logo is the same one that the owl was looking at. What? No, it wasn't. That logo versus the one on Fern's bag, are you talking about? You talking about this logo right here? Looks nothing like it. Has anybody deciphered these on the side here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of these. And maybe then the middle is the 9th. Has anybody deciphered these markings? Interesting. Well, we know for a fact that these 2 symbols in here are unidentified Old Republic symbols or logos or whatever you want to call it. The 7th planet of the Jewels of the Old, or the 7th planets of the Jewels of the Old Republic. Maybe. I wonder if the planets knew of each other. Well, they must, because the Great Works, they're all working towards the Great Works. On the box for the Black Series of Brutus, the description says that getting back to their home planet might be harder than they expected. Meanwhile, we have a lot of adventure remaining. Yeah, them getting back to their home planet should be difficult. Not just 3 episodes and then we're there. Oh, on the scroll you're saying. Okay, let's go back to the scroll. Let's go back to the scroll then. Yeah, because like getting back to their home world is supposed to be very difficult. Not 3 episodes and then we're back home. It looks similar, but there's 9 planets here. Not the 7 that we only see on as the symbol. So it's a similar-esque symbol, but not the same. What's interesting to me is that this is obviously not a map. They confirm that it's not a map in the episode, but it looks like a star map. Like even these chunks here with the lines going in between, it looks kind of like a star map. And then one's in the middle. Seems significant. I think this one on the side, or this one maybe, is Ad-Adden with just the way that the thing on it looks. I don't know. It is very cool. It is very cool. I mean, I've watched this episode 1,000 times at this point. Realistically, though, I've probably watched it 4.5 times. I say a half because I don't really watch it all the way through while I'm doing my breakdown video. I'm just like clipping, or I'm looking through the clips and stuff. It's a half a watch, but I've watched it through 4 times. So 4.5. But it gets cooler every time. It gets so much better. They're hiding so many Easter, like the way that they're doing this show is unbelievably cool. They're hiding so much little stuff in every single scene. Like even some of the sound effects. Oh, you got to see this. So they StarWars.com or Star Wars official Twitter page just released this. And I mean, come on. Watch this. This is pretty wild. Talk about attention to detail. This little noise from episode 1.
Please remain seated while the tram is in motion. Hey, who did that? Always.
Yeah. Well, Hannah, you caught me. When I was asked by John Watts and Chris Ford to make a chime as the students are exiting the bus on their way to school, I loaded up my synthesizer with a very chimey sounding patch, and I started playing things in and eventually found myself going, ding dong, beetle boom, dee-do-do-dee-dum. And I thought, well, that's just me writing Star Tours a million times as a kid. Very good ear. That is absolutely an homage to Star.
So the chime that is made when they walk off the bus in episode 1 is the same chime from Star Tours that plays every day a million times at Disney World, Disneyland. Like the attention to detail in this show is absolutely insane. And that's just one example. I can pull up 1,000 more. Hang on. I got a few more actually right here. What? Oh, right here.
Break a day or two.
Oh, here we go. What? Where did that just go? Oh, here it is. Here's another one.
Cool off in the brig a day or two, then we'll talk.
Brig? What's a brig?
That is a really great catch. Yes, absolutely. I am guilty of whistling on microphone.
This is not what the galaxy was supposed to be like.
We were all looking at that scene together, and I said, wouldn't it be great if we just did an homage to Pirates of the Caribbean? Port Borgo really reminded me of Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a movie that I just really loved. So sure enough, in front of the mic, I went. John Watts and Chris Ford loved it, and I was just so happy that...
Again, a very small whistle from episode 2 when he's just putting the key on the key holder is from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Sorry, while that video was playing, I drank water, went down the wrong pipe. I'm choking to death over here. Hang on. All these little things in these first 3 episodes are absolutely insane. It's so cool. It's a blink you miss it type thing. There's hidden details all over the place. There's a Star Tours shuttle or whatever ride from the actual ride in this frame right here. Like that's the seat that you sit in when you're on the Star Tours ride. It's right there hidden in the background. I mean, you got hidden stuff from Honda Unaka in the background. Like there's so many cool little Easter eggs in this show so far, and we're only 3 episodes in. So it just keeps getting better. Absolutely wild. So yeah. What? We don't have, what? Can we smash a freaking like on the stream? We only have 56 likes? That's crazy. There's so many people here. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. I appreciate it. Helps me out greatly. Helps me out muy greatly. All right. Let's talk some not bad news, but let's talk some sort of some reality here. So hang on, let me fix that. So this title we're about to read from Forbes is called Star Wars Skeleton Crew is great, but can it survive a bloated budget? So we're talking about numbers now. numbers for the Skeleton Crew series. We are 3 episodes into the 8-episode show. There's still a ways to go here. But we have to talk numbers because we have to talk possibility of seeing a second season. Last week, we talked about Jon Watts saying that there is a story and a plan for a second season for the Skeleton Crew series. But whether or not it gets greenlit fully depends on the viewership numbers of season 1, obviously the audience reception to season 1, and how much money it costs to make season 1 versus, of course, other Star Wars projects. So let's read this. The further I get into Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which is just 3 episodes so far, the more I'm convinced that this is shaping up to be the best Disney Plus project short of Andor. Wow, that's some high praise. Evolving into much more than just Goonies in space, and into something genuinely thrilling and funny for all ages, which is absolutely the intent. Obviously, Star Wars is geared more towards kids, but it's supposed to be for all ages anyway, because I'm not a kid, you're probably not a kid, and even if you are, it's still made for everybody. I'm also worried about its potential doom. So although it's very great so far, we're always concerned about a doom. I've had multiple people comment on my breakdown videos on Twitter, on wherever, of saying I am hesitant to enjoy this Skeleton Crew show because I'm worried that it won't get a second season and I'll be let down again. Those are some people who are very, very big fans of, like myself, of the Acolyte show, which of course got canceled for a second season. So they don't want to get their hopes too high. While I hope that is not true, I'm concerned it would be the same as it always is and may mirror what happened to the Acolyte, budget versus viewership numbers, which we're talking about right now. The Acolyte reportedly cost $230 million to make, which is insane, which was one of Disney's lowest viewed Star Wars series. A constant narrative was to blame its quality, but the answer likely lies in the fact that this was Star Wars series without an established character in it, except for the end cameos of Plagueis and Yoda. So it didn't really have the established characters. It wasn't an Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It wasn't a Mandalorian series, which, again, was its own series to start, but whatever. I digress. That may have been once true for The Mandalorian, but A, that was the very first Star Wars show, and B, The Mandalorian was at least Boba Fett adjacent, and of course, Baby Yoda, Grogu, was Yoda adjacent. So it was, that was its one, so it was its own draw. Sorry. Grogu was a big draw to The Mandalorian, and so was, of course, The Mandalorian himself, Din Djarin, being very similar to a Boba Fett-esque character. Okay, let's go. Here, it's the same situation. While Skeleton Crew does take place in the Skywalker saga, it has no established characters that would, like it or not, be likely to draw in a big audience. There's no Luke Skywalker showing up in this show, as far as we're aware. There's no big reveal of Vader or Obi-Wan like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. But there's big enough to justify its budget, which reportedly is $136 million. Sure, a lot less than The Acolyte, but still enormous in context. I actually disagree with this quite a bit. $136 million, yeah, it sounds like a lot of money, but according to the other Star Wars projects, the other Star Wars Disney Plus series, it's not that much. It's actually pretty average, if not below average for a budget for a Disney Plus series. Pretty wild. But let's keep reading. It may be way too early to know anything for certain about viewership, but it seems like the double episode premiere did not break into Luminant's top 10 streaming list for that week, when the Acolyte premiere was at least at number 7. That may not tell the whole story, but it certainly is not an ideal start. So for viewer numbers, it doesn't even crack the top 10 when even the Acolyte did, even though the Acolyte was one of the lower viewed shows of Star Wars Disney Plus series. The problem with Disney Star Wars is that everything is expensive and quality doesn't really matter. That is just not true. I mean, say what you will about the Acolyte, say what you will about Skeleton Crew, say what you will about any of these Star Wars shows. The quality of the show is, I mean, the budget doesn't lie. It's very, very good digital effects-wise, special effects-wise. All that stuff is just absolutely incredible. Maybe they're talking quality of writing, which again is more of a opinion-based matter. Andor, for instance, is easily the best Star Wars Disney Plus production. Again, this is an opinionated sentence, and they're saying it like it's a fact. Andor is not my personal favorite. It is my number 2, but actually, it's my number 3. It is my number 3, but it is probably a lot of your favorites. Tell me in the chat if that is. But it cost an insane amount of money and was the least watched Disney Plus series until The Acolyte, it seems. So Andor, although it had this massive budget, it was 12 episodes, but it had this massive budget. It didn't have good viewing numbers, like the lowest of the low. And yet it still got a second season. It only got a second season because a deal was made ahead of time, rather than waiting for the viewership numbers for a renewal. The Acolyte and the Skeleton Crew did not have that luxury. So Andor was already planned out to be 2 seasons before it aired the first. That was not the case with Skeleton Crew or The Acolyte. Disney has said they want more TV shows that actually feel like TV series with episodes that don't feel like chopped up movies and things that run for multiple seasons. Nothing needs this more than Star Wars right now, because Disney wants more TV series, multiple season TV shows. Star Wars needs that too. The Mandalorian is their biggest success, not because of the first season. It's because of all 3. Season 2 is the best of the 3, in my personal opinion. But if you just had season 1, yes, season 1's really, really good, but it's the other 2 seasons that make it a full story. You need a full story going on here. So having just these one-off seasons of shows, it's not going to work a lot, you know? It's really not. But let's see this. The Mandalorian is about to end after a movie, it seems. Again, I don't know. I think The Mandalorian's getting a movie trilogy. I don't see him ever coming back to Disney Plus for a season 4, with that being said. But, hey, maybe something will happen. Ahsoka has a second season and will likely arrive 3 years after season 1, which is not what you want to see. You want a season to come out almost the next year if you can, but 2 years is pretty big. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Andor is about to end with season 2, a season it probably wouldn't have gotten if it had avoided the viewership and cost situation with an earlier deal. So, talking about it not getting a second season because of the viewership numbers of Andor and, of course, its crazy budget. But Skeleton Crew, if you've seen it, is ripe for future seasons. It has so much potential for future stories moving past here. Now, again, we're only 3 episodes in, so it's possible that episode 8 is a definitive ending and there is no more story to it. But Jon Watts has said that there is a possibility for a second season. But can a show that may be less watched than The Acolyte, when all is said and done, return for more seasons when it's $130 million plus a piece? Disney math, as ever, is the problem. So it's all sort of viewership and budgetary reasons, whether or not this will get a second season. Now, like I mentioned before I even read this video, I think by the end of this show, the viewer numbers will be a lot higher. It'll probably be even in the top 10. I think word of mouth and the fact that this show is so good and ranked so high, rated so high, is what's going to help it drastically and hopefully even help it get a second season. But only time will tell. I can't go tell 2 billion people to go watch this show because I don't know 2 billion people. But I think the viewership numbers will continue to, or hopefully continue to rise throughout the course of this show's release, because word of mouth of this show being so good will get around and people will start to watch it and it will warrant a second season. And like they say, they want more multi-season shows on Disney Plus. It keeps people with their memberships for longer because they're waiting for a second season. So if you want more people to have monthly memberships at Disney Plus, you're going to want to have more multi-season shows. And Skeleton Crew seems like it could be the perfect one for it. Yeah. But with that being said, tell me in the chat, 1, do you want a second season of Skeleton Crew? Just off of the first 3 episodes. Do you want a second season? And 2, if there is to be a show in the Star Wars lineup, let's call it, that would get a second season, which one would you want it to be? Of course, the only ones being Kenobi, The Acolyte, Book of Boba Fett, and Skeleton Crew, right? Am I missing one? Andor got a second season. Mandalorian got a second season. Ahsoka got a second. Yeah, so those 4. Of those 4, which one would you want to get a second season the most? Actually, let's pull this up in the chat. I want to pull this up. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. By the way, do you guys think that Jod Na Nawood is a Jedi? 67%, the math is not mathing, 67% of you say no. No, he is not. Meaning you don't think we'll be getting an Order 66 flashback in episode 7. And I disagree. I think he is. Now, one of us is going to be wrong. Who knows who? But we'll see. All right, let's start up this poll. Which Star Wars show do you want a season 2 for the most? Because you can only choose one. Your options are Kenobi, Book O Boba Fett, The Acolyte, and Skeleton Crew. Now, Skeleton Crew, of course, you're only 3 episodes in, so how can you really know? But the hype for it is right now, so maybe it'll get some votes because people are just excited for the show right now. Well, let's see. Let's see where this poll lands. It's a hard choice, but you got to pick one. Maybe an ex-Jedi failed Padawan. Rose brings up a good point, going back to the Jod being a Jedi type situation. He could have been a Jedi at one point who left the Jedi Order even before Order 66 happened, like Ahsoka Tano, for example, or Count Dooku, or yeah, he could be one of those guys who leaves the Jedi Order. However, there's statues of those people. People who leave the Jedi Order, they're remembered. They're remembered quite a bit. So I don't know if he would be one of them. Yeah. Do I think the Skeleton Crew will get a second season? Yeah. From what John Watts said last week about how him and Christopher Ford have been planning out a second season, like absolutely. They've been planning out the fact that these kids are going to grow older. There'll be probably a 3 to 4 year time jump in between the seasons. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they've really talked about this behind the scenes. I would be surprised if it didn't, honestly. I'd be very surprised if it didn't. Yeah. I would be moyo surprised, though. Indeed. He did not say that there was a wait. He did not say they have a story or a plan. They do have a plan. I literally just said that. What are you talking about? That's a lie? We read the quote from John Watts himself. Did John Watts lie to us, or what's going on? What? There's no plan for season 2 at all. What are you talking about? We literally talked about this for like the whole stream on Monday, on Saturday. When do we stream about season 2 of Skeleton Crew? All right, fine. I'll find it. Fine, I'll find it. Don't you worry. Stinky the Hut's return. Stinky the Hut. The comeback story of the century. John Watts reveals they have an idea for season 2. We 100% have an idea for a second season of Skeleton Crew. We 100% have an idea for the second season, and we know what we would do. Call me a liar. Do it. Do it again. Call me a liar. God damn! Got my own chat coming after me. Holy shit. Jesus. Okay. Now that we got that cleared up. Andor's my number 1. Well, that's a good number 1. Not going to lie. It is my number 3, but it's a good number 1. I'll give it to you. It's a good number 1. By the way, right now, Skeleton Crew is winning this poll. Of these 4 shows to get a second season, Skeleton Crew right now is winning the poll. Get the receipts, Mike? I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. We only talked about it for 2 hours last week. God. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. He said ideas, not story. What do you think an idea is? Crazy. Do, 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 do. Okay. So, going back to, because I got so rudely interrupted, going back to the Forbes article about the budget for the show, $136 million is not that much. With that being said, $136 million for a second season, it would probably be a lot less. When you think about, obviously, having to make Neel's helmet, hat, whatever you want to call it, having to make his head and all those prosthetics probably costs a lot of money. You don't have to do it another time. It's already made. So, like, costs like that, costumes, some stuff for costumes, some of the budget goes down. Now, obviously, there's other sets that you have to build that still cost money, but I would assume a budget for a second season is more likely to be a little bit less, not a lot, but a little bit less than a first season. And $136 million, again, it's really not that much. That's around the average for a Star Wars Disney Plus show, if not maybe even a little lower. But with that being said, Skeleton Crew, I think, could get a second season. Now, it fully depends on the viewership numbers, which right now are a little bit lower, but we knew that was coming. I mean, we predicted that long before the show was coming out. The hype for it was there, but it was not as big as any other Star Wars show before. And like this article mentioned, there was not a big draw to the show. There's no Obi-Wan in it. There's no Luke Skywalker coming. There's no nothing like that. So there you have it. That's my take on possibility of second season of the Skeleton Crew. But tell me what you think in the chat, okay? Oh, Rose with the very generous $2 holla. I appreciate that. And 20th super chat ever. Holy crap, Rose. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, I need your best SM33 impression. All right, let's do it. SM33, say. SM33. Let's see if I can find one online. See, it's hard to do these impressions of the characters that are new because... Oh, I found it. Because it's hard to find... Oops. It's hard to find clips from the show that just aired, you know? But I found one.
What can I do with these gremlins? Snap their necks. Throw them out the airlock.
Don't hurt us!
Captain! Captain!
Gotta do everything around here.
Okay, so before I do this incredible impression, can we talk about who our favorite characters are in this Skeleton Crew show? Give me your favorite, just one favorite. One favorite in the Skeleton Crew show. It might be SM33 for me. Like, his badass scene of kicking everybody's ass in the second episode was so cool. His Captain America impression was fan-freaking-tastic. Of course, everybody's going to say Neel, and I love Neel, don't get me wrong. But SM33 is awesome.
Come along,
Oh,
All right, I need a good line here.
Your captain's dead.
Pertinent creatures trying to fool me.
Then why are we here and he's not?
According to my program, there can be no ship without a captain. And
according to my program, there can be no...
the ship, she's still here, so... Captain!
Captain! I don't know, that's a hard... Nick Frost is a hard voice to replicate.
Captain! Captain!
Captain! Captain! Captain! There can be no ship without a captain. Captain! That's hard.
Wayne, what should we do? Don't ask him. Killed your captain.
Most unlikely. You seem ill-favored for combat.
Most unlikely. You seem ill-favored for combat. That's really tough. That's really tough. Hi, Captain. I can't do it. I don't know why. I can't. But I appreciate it, Rose. I really tried my hardest, I will say. But can't get enough of SM33. And honestly, he took kind of a sideline bench role of this third episode because he was not really involved in the beginning half of it, and then he didn't go to meet Kim in the back half of it, so he really was not in the episode much. he'll be involved in a lot of the rest of the show. That's for sure. Like, he'll be a main character moving forward too. Yeah. Indeed. All right, you know what? This is my channel, and I don't give a fuck. Bye-bye. He was really pissing me off today. Had to get rid of him. Okay. Let's do this. Neel's my favorite. SM33 is a good second. Jod Na is the third. Nice. SM is my new favorite droid. Wow, that's high praise. There's some pretty great droids in Star Wars, if I do say so myself. Snowball the rat. Is that his name, Snowball? I actually didn't know that. Snowball? Fern is my second favorite. Fern's pretty badass, I will say. She's definitely my top 3, probably. Yeah. I think it goes SM33, probably then Neel, then Fern. Jod will quickly become one of my favorites at some point, but right now he's just not. Obviously, he's cool. Introduces a Force-sensitive character, badass. You get the deal, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know why. Like, we were just having fun. I don't know why he was trying to call me out for lying when I clearly wasn't. Like, what? He was trying to say I said ideas instead of story. And even if I did, like, who cares? Why, like, they still talked about the ideas and stories of a second season in that article. Like, why ruin the fun? You want to ruin the fun? You can go ruin the fun somewhere else. Bye-bye. Yeah. Fuzzball for sentimental reasons. Is his name actually Snowball though? Like, what's that little guy's what's that little creature's name? You know? What's his name? Oh, by the way, guys, has anybody heard of this new Christmas movie called Dear Santa? Give me a 1 into the chat if you saw have heard of the new Christmas movie that just came out, or maybe it hasn't even, I think it just came out. Yeah, it just came out this year with Jack Black called Dear Santa. He must be fun at parties. That's brutal.
Incorrect.
Is it called Dear Satan? I thought it was called Dear Santa, but he like wrote it accidentally Satan, and then like Satan shows up and Jack Black is Satan. Yeah. Did you know that kid from that movie, and we're going to watch it right now.
A guy with horns?
Okay, is it the horns that bother you? Watch this. All gone.
Sir, since I was clearly...
So this is Jack Black. It is called Dear Santa. So it's a kid who writes to Santa, but accidentally spells Santa wrong and calls him Satan. The kid in this movie, which just came out this year, that's Neel. That's the kid, Robert. I forget his last name, but Robert, that's Neel. Neel's having quite the year. He's in the new Jack Black Christmas movie, and he's Neel in Skeleton Crew. That's awesome. Yeah, I want to watch this too now. I've not heard anything about this movie, but yeah. Is it Timothy Robert Smith or is it Robert Timothy Smith? Yeah. We're going to see these kids a lot. I think so too. I mean, they're great actors. That's the thing. The big thing that fails with these kids-centered movies and shows is that the kids suck at acting. I can't really think of any off the top of my head because I don't watch, I guess, many of those movies. But if the kids are really, really good, you're going to have a really, really good movie or show. For example, Stranger Things. Stranger Things is one of the best shows I've ever seen. And hopefully if they stick the landing with episode 5, it might go down as one of the greatest shows ever. But it's because of the kid actors. They casted 14-year-olds at the time, 13-year-olds, that are incredible actors and actresses. The exact same thing could be said about the Skeleton Crew show. They casted so unbelievably well these 4 kids. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of them. He's already in this movie right there. Fern and KB and Wim. You'll be seeing a lot more of those actors and actresses too, especially because they're just so professional. You'll be seeing more of them in Star Wars, hopefully, but even beyond that. Yeah. Absolutely. No wonder he's such a good actor for his age. Not many kids these days are good at acting. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. Think about a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and then asking them to act. Like, it's not a simple thing to do. Acting is a very hard thing to do. I could never do it. And I'm 22. Yeah, no? Good job, Neel guy. From Jack Black to Crimson Jack. That's genius. Yeah. From Jack Black to Crimson Jack. There you go. All right, there's something else I wanted to get into before we got out of here, but I can't remember what. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, did you guys see this poster? Check out this poster. This was released a couple weeks ago, or last week. A week ago today. Poster's badass. Kids with flashlights looking around, and then you got Jod behind them. SM-33 in the sky. But what's interesting actually here, and I'm just noticing it now, is you have this broken planet. Obviously, it's depicting his eye, which is sort of broken like that. But maybe it's also because there's a broken planet that's coming up. I don't know. Well, let's count planets here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, possibly. Maybe. All right, let me go back here. Oh, talking about Easter eggs. So you got the Star Tours guide right here. You got the Star Wars Holiday Special Easter egg, which is really weird to me when you think about it. Because the Star Wars Holiday Special was kept hidden for so many years. Like, they tried to cover it up for so many years. And now they're just throwing it in our faces. And they're like, check out this Easter egg to the Holiday Special. You can't watch the Holiday Special anywhere. They've buried it. So it's really weird that they put so much focus on it in this show. But whatever. You also have the Teak from the Battle of Endor, the Ewok movie. You have this Captain EO Easter egg of the flying little creature from the Michael Jackson thing. And of course, Steve Urkel from Family Matters is Gunter in the show. We talked about that. We talked about that. Oh, and by the way, the Teak was voiced by Sam Witwer, which is pretty dang cool, if I do say so myself. I saw this. This is hilarious. The father and son casting that we all needed.
This is where the fun begins.
Get it? Get it? Because Ezra is Jabba the Hutt. And now Jeremy Allen White is casted as Jabba the Hutt's son, Stinky. Pretty funny. I thought it was quite funny. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it was just me. I think that was all that I wanted to go through there. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Let's watch this original trailer for Skeleton Crew real quick. Yeah, this one. And let's go through and see what we haven't seen yet. We're coming up on the halfway mark of this series, chat. Halfway mark of this series. Think about that. Only 4 episodes left after this week's episode. So right now we have 5 episodes left, but the 4th episode's the halfway mark. I know, these shows are ridiculously short, but having said that, let's see how much scenes we haven't seen from the trailer, from the official trailer. Oh, hang on. Before we get there, Fearless with the $2 holla. First of all, I appreciate it, Fearless. 9 months on this channel, absolutely insane. I appreciate that, Fearless. 9 months, that's crazy. But says, can we get a huge Wang impression, please? Huge Wang. I'm not familiar. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. For those of you who are like, what the hell, Huge Wang, what are you talking about? It's Hu Yang, okay? Okay. All right. Hu Yang, They Never Listen. This is one of my favorites. They Never Listen hits me in the soul. Hits me deep in the soul. It's when he tells them to stick together and they never listen. Shit, where is it?
I told them to stay together.
but they never listen.
Sad day.
They never listen. I told them to stay together, but they never listen.
But they never listen.
They never
listen.
listen. I told them to stay together.
I told them to stay together.
But they
never listen. They never listen. I appreciate it, Fearless. I really, really do. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here. Hopefully the lights won't turn off. But let's go rewatch this trailer and see what we haven't seen yet.
What are you in for? What are you in for?
I found something buried in the woods.
Dad.
This is unacceptable. Do you understand?
What do you think it is? Don't touch anything.
What did you do?
We're lost. Really lost.
Stay together. We just need some directions home.
Come on, kid. Pay up. Whoa.
Where'd you two find an old Republic credit?
Over here, quick. I'll get you home. We'll make a partnership.
So this is the first scene we haven't seen yet. This is on the snowy planet. You can see the mountains in the background. I wonder who he's gesturing to. Like, I feel like he wouldn't do that with the kids.
I'll get you home. We'll make a...
Like, why would he be doing that to the kids? And this doesn't really even... This isn't the Onyx Cinder. Oh, maybe it is. The blaster's over there. This is a different entrance then to it. I don't know.
A partnership. But we have to move fast! I need you to take the controls.
Neel?
Okay.
Neel? Neel?
Haven't seen that yet. That might be them on Ad-Atten. If you look over here on the right, or on the left, sorry. All the way out there on the left. That might be Ad-Atten. Could be. It's got a similar look to it.
A crew of murderous pirates is coming.
So let's check out the crew here.
A crew of...
We haven't seen this yet. And this guy makes us think that that's on the snowy mountainous planet. Because we saw those guys with those sort of Republic or rebellion-esque hats on the snowy planet. It looks like somebody's holding up a knife to somebody's throat over there on the side. On the left. Interesting.
Murderous pirates is coming.
We haven't seen that. We haven't seen this.
Something's wrong.
We haven't seen this yet. I thought it was going to be in episode 3. Now I'm guessing it's going to be in episode 4. But the kids' parents actually looking for them. Like they were concerned at the beginning of episode 3, but we never went back to them. Actually trying to look for themselves because the supervisor won't do it. It's interesting. Hopefully this is episode 4.
They're not going to just turn up. We need to find them.
We're not alone down here.
Be warned.
This is the snowy mountainy planet we're talking about. I think they could be going here next episode, but more likely episode 5. I think episode 4 is going to be on that sort of war-torn planet. And I don't know what this planet's all about.
Of booby traps.
This is where it seems to come all together. Like
Warned.
Pirates, X-Wings.
Of booby traps.
Maybe Jod calls the New Republic to actually come capture them to help escape. Like they're pinned down by the pirates and stuff like that, and then they just sort of, go on, and he thinks they're trapped, so they have to call in the New Republic. That'd be wild.
Pirates and mountains where none dare to go.
If you hear this, don't give up. No matter what.
And again, I think this treasure room is on the snowy planet, not at Atten, which is weird. But I'd say at least 60% of those scenes, probably even more actually, 70 even, of those scenes have been seen through the first 3 episodes. And I think probably 90% will have been seen through the first 4, which is usually how it works, but pretty wild when you think about it. The rest of the season, moving past that, it's going to be completely unknown. There's really so little that we know about going into the back half of this season. Yes, there's some story about a treasure, but I don't think the treasure is the end goal for this show. I just don't think it is. But that's pretty cool. That is pretty dang cool, if I do say so myself. All right. Throw in your last minute predictions for episode 4 of Skeleton Crew. Yes, we'll have a stream on Monday. Don't you worry about that. We still have the stream on Monday. So we'll still have the prediction stream on Monday for episode 4 specifically. But throw in your predictions now. Why not? Your pal Joe says, poor Ubisoft, eh? Looks like they are going under real fast. Outlaws won't be getting any updates. Getting the updates that we thought. Really? I've not really seen much of that. I'm not really in the video game world when it comes to news, but yeah. 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 Really, they're tied? Oh. All right, I'm going to end this poll. Let's see what you guys wanted for season 2s. And the results are in. Which Star Wars show do you want a season 2 for the most? The options were Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, The Acolyte, and Skeleton Crew. Coming in last was the Book of Boba Fett with 12%. Not like 12% is 12%. That's a pretty good chunk. Obi-Wan is in second to last, or third place, I should say, with 19%. Second place is The Acolyte with 33%, and 35% of you guys. First place is Skeleton Crew. That is actually crazy. That's wild. Did you already review the Family Matters style of the Skeleton Crew trailer? No, we didn't actually. Let's watch that. Let's watch that. Is that on YouTube or is it just on X? Yeah, it's only on X. Okay. Let's watch this. This is actually awesome. I can't believe we forgot about that. I forgot about this. You know? Do you know, chat? Do you know? Let's watch this. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Nope, that's not it. Where is this trailer? Oh, found it. Yeah, here we go. Check this out. Check this out. It's pretty awesome. Well, what was funniest was probably the KB one. Yeah, she's got Grogu behind her. She's talking to Wicket, and she's holding a jug of blue milk. That's hilarious. SM33 as himself, though. No credit to Nick Frost. And the only special guest was Jaleel White, because, of course, it's the Family Matters thing, but that was funny. It was quite funny. Yeah. SM33 knows more. You think SM33's hiding stuff, Marcus? Interesting. Interesting. Owen says, my prediction is that the first few minutes, the parents will realize something's not right with At-Atten. As for the kids, they'll be heading to At-Atten, but instead they'll find themselves on a different planet. That sounds pretty good to me. I actually think the parents' Wim's dad will be the one who starts to question things. I think Fern's mom will be like, what are you talking about? We live on a nice, safe planet. We're all working towards the great works. You know? Yeah, the advertising team for this show needs a raise. They're doing an incredible job. Yeah, absolutely. All right. I am going to get on out of here. Wait, how does the mom get the message out, I wonder? Yeah, that is interesting. If there's no ships that are supposed to get in or out, you'd think that no transmissions were supposed to get in or out either. That is interesting. Jod and SM-33 will have a showdown at some point? That would be wild. I'd like that. I would like that. All right. Let's smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not yet. How many likes do we have? Has it gone up from 56 yet? All right, 73. Still, 73. We got 90 people here. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. It'll show up in the recommended feed of yours. All right, let's put this to bed before we get on out of here. Do you think Jod Na is a Jedi? Yes or no? And if no, who is he? Tell me, chat. Who is Jod Na Nawood? Before we get out of here. And while you're at it, smash a freaking like on the stream. He's no one? Okay. Well, he has to have the Force at some point. So who trained him in the ways of the Force? Jod lost his daughter named Rey. We talked about that earlier, Thrawn Kills, while you weren't here, but it's impossible because we know who Rey's parents are, and it's not Jod. No, he's a survivor. Interesting. No, just a random Force user, but then who did he learn the Force from? Force user that wasn't fully trained. Interesting, but trained by whom? The Jedi? Maybe. Force user. Exactly, no one trained him? Well, then how did he learn the Force? Somebody had to train him. Or he had to somehow get training. That poster that you showed, the back shot had a broken planet, etc. That outlines SM-33's head and a broken planet for his missing eye. Oh, around his head, you're saying. Interesting. Maybe those planets were destroyed. But what could have destroyed them if not the Death Star, you know? Yeah, no. He had minimal experience and training with the Force. Then Order 66 happened, and he had to adapt to the times to get by. Interesting. So you do think he was a Jedi? No, look at Broom Boy. Broom Boy is an anomaly because the explanation of being able to wield the Force, Broom Boy should not exist, right? And actually to that, Rey as well. Because Rey has no training either. Self-taught. You can be self-taught for sure if you have the right resources, like the sacred texts or ancient texts or anything like that. That's a possibility. But you need some sort of training. That's for damn sure. You don't need training. Well, that's kind of what it was explained to us last year, is everybody has the Force flowing through them, and everybody can learn the Force, but you need training. Some probably more than others. Yeah, no. Remember the Clone Wars? The babies used the Force? Babies used the Force? No. Oh, in the Bad Batch, you mean? Were they using the Force? Oh, the baby using the Force in the Bad Batch. Yes. I do. Interesting. You got a point there. But I mean use as in, like, have control of use. Like, he controls himself to use the Force to bring the key to his hand. I don't think that baby could have done that. Yes, he's able to sporadically use the Force because he's powerful with the Force. But, you know, I don't think he has control or clearly Jod has experience, training, or maybe not training, but experience using the Force quite a bit. Yeah. Only time will tell, chat. The only problem is I don't think we're learning until the 7th episode, which is in quite some time. Darth Raccoon, what's up? I play bass guitar. I'm self-taught. A lot of people say my skill shouldn't exist also. Valid. Valid. But I bring up again his childhood being taken from him. If he was self-taught, then, I mean, maybe his childhood was taken from him and then he self-taught himself the Force. That's a possibility. Then there's his hatred for the droids, too, which could become a big thing. A lot of unanswered questions, to say the least. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We barely even talked about Atten today. Barely. I mean, we did focus on it yesterday, or on Thursday's stream quite a bit, but still. Still. All right. Well, until Monday, because streams are now Monday until Skeleton Crew is over. So Monday at 2 p.m., we'll be live. Maybe a video tomorrow. If not, then obviously a short. I got a short for tonight, too, so watch out for a short. And yeah, Skeleton Crew on Tuesday, episode 4. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. Blah, 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 blah. And may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate all of you so much more than you will ever know. Even Universal. I appreciate you. Don't worry about it. But I'll see you guys next time. You know the deal. Yeah. This was a fun one. I love speculating about this crap because, honestly, everything I could have said today could have been wrong and can be proven wrong at some point later down the line. But until it's proven wrong, it could be right. So all these predictions and all these speculations, I mean, you got to be right one of these times, right? But watch out for maybe a video tomorrow. If not, short tomorrow, short today. And, of course, the stream on Monday. And until then, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.